Hey guys, Hamsterwheel here with a new video and welcome to my Mage guide to Blackwing Lair. Before we start, you know the deal, top up on those raid consumables. And once you've done that, we can go to Blackwing Lair and start killing some bosses. The first boss we face is Razer Gore the Untamed. Now for mages there is not that much to remember. Basically we first need to kill the ants on top of this stage, if you will. Remember to single target DPS only, as people will get mind controlled and could possibly get killed if people start AoEing. After that we move behind this pillar right here. Now normally ants would spawn, but this doesn't work on Primal as of right now, so just move to the pillar and wait there for whoever mind controlled Razer Gore to kill off all the eggs. Once all the eggs are dead, Razer Gore will be positioned at the pillar that is on the opposite side of the gate, and after that it's time to DPS him down. There's really only one thing you have to take into consideration as a mage. Razer Gore will occasionally throw fireballs to people, but you can, however, line of sight this by just walking to the right slightly, hence why the DPS stands very close to the pillar. Quick tip here, as a mage you can actually pop Fire Ward and absorb most of the damage of the AoE fireball attack. This way you don't have to hide and you can actually keep on DPSing. Please note that if your Fire Ward is on cooldown and you don't have it up, you have to hide, as healers will not appreciate you slacking on the line of sight duty. And that's pretty much it for Razer Gore. After that it's time to run through the gate, kill some ants quickly, and then we face the second boss in Blackwing Lair, Veilstress. This boss is a DPS race, so be prepared to do as much DPS as you can. What happens during this boss fight is that you will get a buff/debuff called Essence of the Red. This will give you unlimited mana as a mage, but it will also take health away every few seconds or so. This damage will cause some pushback on your spells if you're rolling around with an Arcane Frost spec. However, if you're a fire mage or you have dual talent spec unlocked and your second spec is fire, I advise you to use that over Arcane Frost. The reason for that is the 2 points in Burning Soul, which reduces the pushback suffered from damaging attacks while casting fire spells by 70%. So fire is the preferred spec when it comes to Veilstress. One more thing you have to take in mind is the fact that you have to watch your aggro during this fight, as the tanks will die one by one, and when that happens there's a chance you will get aggro if you're not careful enough. If you feel like you're building too much threat, run over to the tank spot. It's better to die there than to stay in a DPS spot, as that can result in an instant wipe for the raid. And that's Veilstress for you. Do as much DPS, roll with fire if you can, and watch that threat. After Veilstress is dead, we move up and stand on the balcony. The room up ahead is filled with mobs that need to be killed off one by one. All you need to do here is just pay attention to TeamSpeak and kill whichever mob is being called out to kill. Up next we have the Suppression Room. This room isn't all that hard, just AoE down the mobs and keep on moving with the group, as whelps will spawn rather quickly after they died. One thing you have to keep in mind is that the mobs there will occasionally throw out a Flame Strike, so you have to move out of that, but you should also refrain from using Flame Strike yourself, as that can be a bit confusing for the raid. Remember that you can use your Fire Ward to soak up a bit of the AoE damage that the Flame Strike does. After we clear those trash mobs, it's time for the third boss, Broodlord Lashlayer. This boss for us mages is very boring, because most of the time you'll be using nothing but your wand to do damage. Yeah, I'm not joking. The reason is that because Broodlord will occasionally do an attack where he reduces the main target's threat by 50%. This means that anyone who doesn't have any threat reducing abilities such as mages are forced to use nothing but wand damage for the majority of the fight. Once Broodlord is at 40%, it's safe to do DPS, so when you reach that point you can go all out. Also, when the boss is almost dead, don't forget to move away from the gate so you don't pull the trash mobs when the gate opens. After that boss is done, we got some more trash mobs. The warlocks in these packs will always be sheep first, as it's easier to deal with the rest of the trash mobs and kill those later. Then we have the goblins who will throw grenades on the grounds that do some AoE fire damage, and remember you can pop Fire Ward to absorb some of that damage. And last but not least we have the spellbinders. These can't be killed with magic, so all you can do is wand them. Once those are dead, it's time to break the warlocks out of the sheep and kill them. All you need to know for those is that they will cast Rain of Fire somewhere, so when you see fireballs falling from the sky you need to move. Next up we have the fourth boss in Blackwing Lair, which is Firemaw. Firemaw, just like the other two drakes we're about to encounter, are considered loot pinatas, and for a good reason. They're easy to kill and don't require a whole lot of tactics. There are some things to keep in mind though for Firemaw. First off, he will put a debuff on you called Flame Buffet. This debuff will stack up, and with every stack you will get more damage. At around 15 to 20 stacks you should hide behind the wall to the right of us, and when your stacks are gone you can rejoin the fight. Few tips for mages. First of all, just like Veilstress, the debuff will cause pushback effects, so fire is once again the preferred choice. Second of all, you can actually get rid of the debuffs by using Ice Block, so be sure to use that first before hiding, as you'll be able to stay in the fight longer. That's pretty much it for Fire Maw. After Fire Maw we have some more Warlocks, Spellbinders, Goblins, and a new type of trash mob, the Death Talon Wormguard. An important thing to know about these mobs is that they will have one weakness to a certain type of spells, for instance Arcane, Nature, or Frost. If the target has something beneficial to mages, you'll see that you'll do a lot more damage, and you can expect to see some very fancy numbers popping up on your screen. Watch out for your threat though, as it is very easy to over aggro when the mob has frost damage, for instance. After some more packs of mobs we end up at the second Drake, Ebonrock. Ebonrock is even easier than Fire Maw. There's literally nothing you need to know about this fight, apart from hide behind the wall when the boss is pulled and watch your threat. That's it. And finally we have the last Drake, Flame Gore, and once again it's extremely easy for us mages. Hide behind the wall when he's being pulled and watch your threat. Yeah, that's why we call them loot pinatas. After that we have 3 more Draconids with weaknesses to spells, and then we face the second to last boss in Blackwing Lair, CRO Magus. There's a few things you need to know for this boss. First of all, we will tank him in this position, so it's easy for the melee and range to hide during the breath that CRO Magus will do every now and then. It's very easy to keep track of the breath, as the raid leader or someone else will call it out. When that happens, just hug the wall to the left of CRO Magus and you're all good. Next, CRO Magus will put afflictions on players throughout the fight. The ones you need to deal with as a mage are the Bronze and Purple Affliction. The Bronze Affliction is a debuff that will stun you for a few seconds every now and then. It's very annoying as it makes it harder to do your job during this fight. This debuff can be dispelled unfortunately, but as a mage you can use Ice Block to get rid of the debuff, so I urge you to do that as soon as you get it. The Purple Affliction is a curse, so luckily us mages can just decurse that right away. Now during this fight there will be 2 mages assigned with the decursing, and the other mages can go ahead and DPS. When you're on decursing duty, you do nothing but decurse, and that's it. This can be very boring, but it's necessary to get the boss down. One more thing to keep in mind is that CRO Magus will have a weakness to one school of spells which changes after every breath. So he might have Shadow weakness first, then Arcane, then Nature, and so on. This means that you can start doing major damage all of a sudden when he has a weakness to the spells you're using, so keep that in mind and watch that threat meter. And that's it for CRO Magus. Hide from the breath, use Ice Block to get rid of the Bronze Affliction, and use Decurse to get rid of the purple one. After that it's time for the last boss of Blackwing Lair, Nefarian. For Nefarian, make sure you have your Onyxia skill cloak equipped. This is so you don't die of the Shadow Flame that Nefarian casts when phase 2 begins. If you can time it right, you can actually Ice Block the flames, so if you feel like taking the risk you can unequip it and use whatever cloak you have for that extra bit of DPS. Right, before Nefarian is pulled everyone will stand behind this pillar. This is to avoid the shadow bolts that Nefarian will throw out to anyone who is in line of sight. This also means that when Nefarian moves, you will move around the pillar to make sure you stay out of his line of sight. Now during this phase mobs will spawn that need to be gathered and killed with AoE spells. During this phase you can really shine in terms of DPS, as we're really good with AoE DPS. If you can handle your threat, then you should pop Arcane Power, Icy Veins, and whatever spell power trinket you have to ensure maximum AoE damage. When phase 2 starts, Nefarian will change from his human form to his dragon form. He will cast Shadow Flame and land on the balcony. From this point out, the tank will pick him up and drag him to the edge of the balcony. As a mage, all you need to do is finish off the remaining adds and turn to the right of where the tank is tanking him. During phase 2, Nefarian will use different class calls, so to say. What it basically does is target one specific class, and that class will start doing all kinds of weird stuff. Here's a list of what happens for each class during those calls. Druids will be stuck in cat form. Hunters will have their ranged weapon broken instantly. Mages will start casting Polymorph on fellow raid members. Priests will start throwing out corrupted heals which actually damages raid members. Rogues will be teleported and immobilized close to Nefarian. Shamans will start summoning harmful totems. Warriors will be stuck in Berserker stance. Warlocks will summon packs of Infernals. And Paladins will cast Blessing of Protection on Nefarian. All that really matters for you as a mage are the Shaman and Warlock calls, as they will spawn totems or infernals into the raid group. These need to be AoE down as fast as possible. When Nefarian is at 20%, the ads that you killed during phase 1 will be resurrected. Hunters will throw down traps to slow them, and as a mage it is your job to do as much AoE damage as you can. I advise you to make sure your cooldowns such as Arcane Power and Icy Veins are off cooldown before this happens. After that, it's a simple matter of DPSing the boss down, and that's all you need to know for Nefarian. And there you go guys, that is everything you need to know as a mage for Blackwing Lair. I hope I was able to help you out with this video. If you have any questions, then don't hesitate to ask me in game. And as always, I want to thank you for watching this video. I'm Hamsterwheel, and have a good one.